What is up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to keep it minimalistic and simple and give you beginners out there some advice on building muscle. This advice or the tips that I'm going to give you guys have helped me in my journey of fitness or lifting, so I think it may be of some value to you guys as well. These tips have no hierarchy of importance, so make sure you listen in carefully because all these tips are as equally important, so make sure you listen. And these tips, some of them have to do with training and some of them have to do with nutrition, so let's get right into it. So let's first start with training. So if you're a beginner lifter, a core tip for training that I would give you guys is to prioritize compound lifts. So compound lifts consist of squats, deadlifts and bench press, so that builds your core strength to then do isolated movements. I would recommend doing these compound exercises for at least 6 months to 1 year before you move on to more isolated exercises which requires more core strength. When you first start lifting weights at the gym, it can be quite overwhelming as to what to do and what not to do, and people often complicate things in training when you go to the gym with all these different types of training styles and like different types of training splits that may not be right for you. So prioritizing compound exercises will give you more core stability and it will aid in basic muscular development, aka noob gains. Another core tip that I would give you guys is when you start with compound lifts, make sure you utilize progressive overload, and it should also transfer onto isolation exercises when you get to that after about 6 months or 1 year. So progressive overload is when you continually challenge the muscle to grow, and if you take it in a scientific perspective, is when you stretch the muscle to a point where those micro tears happen in those muscle fibers, so that turns into repair and that grows your muscle in turn. So progressive overload can be done in 4 ways. So the first and the most obvious way is to increase the amount of weight that you're using, so it can be even in 2 kg every week. So if you increase 2 kg every week, your muscle is not used to that type of stress, so what's going to happen is you're going to create those micro tears in those muscle fibers and then it's going to grow. The second way of doing progressive overload is to increase the amount of sets or increase the amount of reps that you do in a particular exercise. So this can be any exercise, so as long as you increase the reps and sets done every week, so every week or every 2 weeks, it's going to be effective. The third way of progressive overload is to have a controlled eccentric or a concentric movement of the exercise, so that creates more time under tension and it creates those micro tears in the muscle fibers and it increases growth as well. So say that you're doing a bicep exercise, the concentric movement would be to lift it up and the eccentric movement would be to let it down. So as long as you control one of them or even both of them, you're gonna increase muscle growth. The fourth and the final way of progressive overload is to take less rest time between your sets, so that creates more time under tension as well, which creates more muscle growth in the end. Now let's move on to nutrition. So a core nutrition tip that I would give you guys is that you should start bulking straight away after you start training and lifting weights. When you first start lifting, you want to maximize what you call noob gains, so you want to eat at a caloric surplus to repair those muscle fibers that you've damaged throughout your workouts. So noob gains is when you first start lifting weights and the amount of muscle that you gain in the first say 2 years of training is what you call noob gains. So you want to maximize that with bulking and eating extra calories to put on their muscle. So if you're not eating at a caloric surplus, you're not going to put on their muscle, so the noob gains effect is not going to be applicable to you. So even if you have a substantial amount of body fat when you start off lifting weights, you will have what you call a body recomposition, so that's when you gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. The next nutrition tip that I would give you guys is to prioritize your protein intake. So in general, you want to make sure that you have a high protein intake in your diet, so that makes sure that you're constantly repairing those muscle fibers that have been torn during exercise. This repairing, however, is peaked straight after a workout and when you sleep. Therefore, it's important that you guys get at least 1.1 to 1.3 grams of protein in your post-workout meals to again repair those muscles. And additionally, you want to get around 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night so that you maximize muscle growth that way as well. So those are the basic training and nutrition tips that I have to give you guys as beginners. This has definitely helped me in a lot of ways, and I wish I knew these before I started going to the gym so that I had a good plan of what I was going to do, but hey, we live and learn. Also remember that that training and nutrition goes hand in hand, and one can't work without the other, even though nutrition is slightly more important than your workouts. So always prioritize nutrition. So today I'm gonna take you guys along with me on a chest workout, so you guys get to see what kind of chest exercises I do, and maybe you can incorporate those into your training routine as well, because these are the exercises that pretty much works for me, and I've been doing it for a long time. Even though it is good to switch it up once in a while, I'll take you guys along with me. First I'm gonna have a cup of coffee and let's get right into it.
Before the storm, things aren't as they were before. You best start bracing. Did you think you could keep us out? Shut the gates, forget us now. Tides are changing. Can you hear the sound? Stop us now. We're not back in town, know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Voices shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution. Can you hear the sound?
So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys took some value out of this. Definitely had fun filming this, and I had fun filming the chest workout as well. If you guys have any more questions about the tips that I gave you guys, make sure to leave it in the comments. And if you guys have any questions about the chest workout that I did, make sure to leave it in the comments as well. Other than that, make sure you hit the like button if you guys enjoyed this video and took some value out of it. Until next time, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.